What is good, YouTube? It's your boy Felipe, and very fittingly, disorder is once again in progress as I'm looking crusty as and just trying to get some things off my mind. So I kind of wanted to piggyback off of last week's video talking about having a plan, right? How it's important to have a plan, but sometimes you got to kind of find that middle ground, right? And I think that aspect of over planning or trying to control every single minute detail that may come up, any sort of edge case or scenario, right? I think it's very very arrogant of us as humans to think that we can possibly cover all our bases in that regard. But I think there's a way to work within that framework. It just has to be you have to have a little bit of a tempered expectations, if you will. And I think what I find is especially nefarious in today's day and age is the constant flood of information and the constant need to feel like you have to catch up or get ahead, right? Which I think there is some merit to that for sure. You always want to be striving to be better, and if you have goals, obviously you want to set them and execute them, have a plan, right? But I think this excess of information just causes us to automatically snap into that, I got a plan, I got to make everything fit into this nice, neat little box. And what happens there, I find, and this is speaking from experience because I have done this a lot in the past and I still find myself doing this, although I try to rein myself in a little bit more, is when you're faced with a problem, right? You have something that starts to bug you, right? And you start to think, okay, I got to figure this out. Instead of getting to the root of the problem and just getting down to basics, right? We'll all often try to do is go in, various different directions, right? That, in our heads seem like they're a means towards an end, right? A means towards greater progress. But, it's really just a distraction. And I think, it's kind of a vicious cycle, right? Because it's like, you're kind of bombarded with information. You get spikes of anxiety and, thinking, I need to do this. Like, I'm not enough, or I have to, kind of catch up, whatever, right? And, we'll start frantically putting together little schemes or plans or ideas of how we can try and do that, get ahead, right? And then something else will come up and, totally disrupt our whatever sort of flow we had going. And it's just like you're kind of ping-ponging between all of these sort of states of anxiety that I think is, I'm not an expert in this, but from my personal observation, that excess of information is, definitely a prime contributor to that. So I've been trying to reduce my media intake, trying to stay less on my phone. I think, the more awareness is coming about in this regard, of how screen time, social media, just intaking this unnatural amount of information, the effect that it has on our being, right? And I think, nowadays you can track your screen time on your phone. You can, there's ways you can kind of silo how you intake your information, right? Me, for example, I like to, create watch later playlists and, really instead of letting it pile up, I like to keep it nice and tidy and kind of avoid mindless scrolling, right? Which I think that's unfortunately what most social media sites today are designed for. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there. Was hoping to keep this video under 5 minutes, but close to there. So getting there. Anyway, hope you're having a good day, good night, good evening, whatever, wherever you may be watching this video. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.